The greatest threat to becoming all you could be is satisfaction with who you are. What you could do is always jeopardized by what you've done. There are millions of individuals who have buried their dormant talents, gifts, and abilities in the cemetery of their last accomplishments. They have settled for less than their best. I believe that the cemetery of the best is good, and the strength of good is the norm. There will always be forces trying to convince us to settle where we are. Life has a way of pushing our dreams down. They can be buried under discouragement, buried under past mistakes. There are dreams buried under low self-esteem. It's easy to settle for mediocrity, even though we have all this potential buried on the inside. You see, friend, your potential, ability, and natural talent were given by divine providence for the purpose of preparing the next generation to fulfill its purpose and potential. You have the ability to do more than you could ever begin to imagine. But we live in a society where we are told more about our limitations rather than our potential. When we think about the vast potential that resides in each of us, it's crucial to recognize the paradox inherent in the human condition. We humans are aware of our limitless capacities, but we often find ourselves trapped by fear and doubts that prevent us from fully manifesting our true potential. The root of this dilemma lies in the very duality of the human experience. We are gifted with big dreams. We glimpse what we could be, but at the same time, we are confronted by internal obstacles that keep us in our comfort zone. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, and even insecurity about how we will be perceived by others act as shadows that obscure the light of our true potential. Even though we hold the map to transformation, we hesitate to start the journey. This hesitation is common to all of us, an intimate battle between the desire to flourish and the fear of facing the storms that change can bring. As we explore the deeper levels of our journey of self-transformation, it is essential to explore the underlying causes that often leaves us stagnating, even when we are aware of our unlimited potential. The first cause that stands out is the benefit rooted in the comfort zone. The familiar, even if limiting, often seems safer than the unknown. Fear of what may reside outside our unusual circle can become an anchor that prevents us from taking higher flights. The comfort zone, with its seemingly welcoming walls, can become a place that keeps us on the margins of the vast ocean of possibilities that lies beyond. Many times, we become so accustomed to familiar limitations that the mere thought of exploring unknown lands envelops us in a haze of anxiety. But as hard as it is, I need to tell you something. The truth is, comfort is not always aligned with growth. Again, I repeat, comfort is not always aligned with growth. In fact, It is often in the search for the uncomfortable that we find the wonders of self-discovery. The unknown, although initially intimidating, is where the magic happens. It's in this space of uncertainty that we learn, grow, and expand the limits of what we thought was impossible. However, overcoming complacency in the comfort zone requires a significant dose of bravery. It requires that we question the validity of the status quo, that we challenge ourselves to look beyond the familiar and to embrace the unknown with an open heart. And when we do this, we are effectively untying the chains that bind us to a stagnant existence, making room for the audacious exploration of our true potential. So remember that the comfort zone is a trap from which we can free ourselves. Another crucial aspect that can leave us stagnant is the influence of limiting beliefs, those ideas that we internalize about our own capabilities. We are often shaped by narratives that reinforce self-imposed limits, creating invisible barriers that prevent us from realizing our full potential. It's the internalized narratives, often shaped by past experiences or messages from the environment around us, that subtly define what we believe is possible. However, it is important to understand that these beliefs are reflections of a state of consciousness and, as such, can be transformed. The journey of self-transformation begins when we face these causes of stagnation head-on, when we challenge complacency and question the beliefs that restrict us. Each one of us is a complex fabric of stories, some written by ourselves, but many others imposed by external influences. Limiting beliefs are like invisible chains that, when left unchecked, can restrict our potential and hinder the full expression of who we really are. It's crucial to understand that these beliefs are not unquestionable truths, but rather constructions of the mind shaped by subjective interpretations of the world. But when we recognize the influence of these beliefs, we take the first step toward destroying the shackles they have placed around our true potential. The process of liberation can begin with honest self-analysis. So start by asking yourself, what stories do I tell myself about my abilities? Are these stories based on facts, or are they projections of past fears and doubts? Transformation occurs when we actively challenge these limiting narratives. It is an act of courage to challenge one's own ingrained perceptions. But it is only by doing so that we begin to realize the vast territory of possibilities that stretches out before us. As I always say, we are the narrators of our own story, the co-creators of our own reality. So we can choose to rewrite the chapters of our lives. We can question self-imposed limitations and create a narrative that resonates with the deeper truth of who we are and what we can achieve. So remember, we are the conscious authors of our own transformation. And when we recognize these two main causes that I have mentioned to you, we begin our internalized change, transmuting the complacency of the comfort zone into courage and the limiting beliefs into an explosive vision of our own potential. This is the first step toward liberation from stagnation and ascension in the conscious search for the best version of ourselves. Now that we have explored the depths of the causes that keep us stuck, let's illuminate the path of possible solutions. The first step is to use discomfort as a catalyst for growth. What do I mean when I say that? It is essential to recognize that discomfort is not only inevitable, it's also an indicator that we are challenging self-imposed limits. It is in the search for the unknown that we discover our true inner strength. Often, it is breaking down the barriers of what is familiar and safe that we find the seeds of deeper growth. Because if we want to grow, expand, and manifest our true potential, we must learn to see discomfort not as a barrier, but as an indicator of unexplored territory ready to be conquered. When we embrace discomfort, we are also directly confronting the self-imposed limits that keep us in a false sense of security. It is an act of courage to consciously challenge ourselves, questioning why certain limits exist and if they are really necessary. Discomfort in this context becomes a guide that takes us beyond what we think is possible. For it is in overcoming uncomfortable challenges that we develop resilience, adaptability, and inner strength. Each well-navigated moment of discomfort brings us closer to the most authentic version of ourselves, our higher self. The second step is to consciously rewrite our narratives. First, with the influence of limiting beliefs, it becomes essential to consciously rewrite the narratives that define us. It's essential that we take on the role of authors of our own story, questioning the beliefs that don't serve our growth and replacing them with powerful affirmations that nurture confidence and authenticity. These narratives, often rooted in past experiences and perceived messages, become the lenses through which we perceive our reality. But I would like you to remember that we can be the conscious authors of our own story, challenging and redesigning these narratives to reflect the deeper truth of our essence. This requires looking beyond the surface and diving into the deepest layer of our psyche, identifying the roots of the beliefs that limit us. When we question the origin of these beliefs, we gain perspective on their current validity, and we realize that we are not irreversibly bound to interpretations of the past. We must consciously choose words and thoughts that strengthen our self-confidence, nurturing a vision of ourselves as capable, resilient, and worthy beings. Conscious rewriting is not an instant transformation, but a gradual process of building a new identity. As we replace limiting narratives with stories of growth, overcoming, and authenticity, we actively shape who we are and what we can achieve. This brings us ever closer to our higher self. The third step is to know that the journey of self-transformation is like an ongoing ritual. As I said earlier, it's not an instantaneous transformation, it's a continuous journey. It's important to see each step, each challenge as a sacred ritual in our search for the best version of ourselves. When we consider life as a constant flow of learning, growth, and self-discovery, we realize that every moment is an opportunity for improvement and upliftment. Instead of looking for quick fixes, let's embrace the idea that every challenge, triumph, or detour is an integral part of a constantly evolving story. To accept the fluidity of the process is to realize that each phase has its purpose, even when we don't fully comprehend it at the moment. Each experience contributes to our journey, shaping us in ways that will only reveal themselves over time. And above all, we should celebrate each advance along the journey. Every step towards self-transformation, no matter how small, deserves recognition and celebration. These moments not only propel us forward, but also strengthens our resolve for the challenges ahead. So remember, the journey is as significant as the arrival. And it is in this process that we find the true essence of self-transformation. The fourth step to self-transformation is acceptance. Acceptance emerges as a transcendental key, unlocking doors to inner growth and true expansion. By embracing acceptance in all its nuisance, we cultivate fertile soil for positive transformation, allowing us to flourish regardless of circumstances. Acceptance also leads us to understand the inevitably fluctuating nature of life. Like the tides of the ocean, life has its own oscillations. Accepting change as a constant frees us from the bounds of resilience, allowing us to flow in harmony with the natural rhythms of existence. Each challenge, although often shrouded in dark clouds, carries with it valuable lessons. And acceptance enables us to see beyond appearances, recognizing that even in the most difficult moments, there are seeds of growth. Acceptance not only implies accepting the present, but also releasing the weight of the past. Because we often carry emotional burdens that prevent our progress. But when we accept the past as part of the journey, we free ourselves from that emotional burden, allowing new chapters of our life to unfold with lightness and clarity. This acceptance becomes the solid foundation on which we build the authentic expression of our inner truth, our higher self. These steps I have shared with you are not just paths to follow, but invitation to consciously redefine our journey. I know the journey is often challenging, yet it is in this challenge that we discover the resilience and fortitude that resides deep within each of us. It's like challenging the superficial layers of our identity and exploring the fundamental questions about our true essence. So I ask you, what moves you? What are your deepest values? These courageous questions lead us to our higher self, where the answers are not always immediately obvious. It's an incessant search for our authenticity. And as we question ourselves, as we free ourselves from social masks and external expectations, we discover the deeper layers of who we really are. This authenticity is the anchor that connects us to our true essence, to our higher self, freeing us to live with purpose and passion. Embracing this journey requires an inner courage that allows us to face our fears head-on, understanding that on the other side of fear, there is the freedom and expansion we seek. We must recognize our shadows and our fears and look at them fearlessly, understanding that ignorance does not dissolve them, but rather strengthens them. But when we understand our fears and shadows, we gain the power to challenge them. Fear, when understood and embraced, can become a driving force for growth and self-transformation. Instead of being an obstacle, fear can be light that drives us to explore the unknown. Overcoming fear requires a courageous acceptance of our vulnerability. But I did like you to remember that vulnerability is not a weakness, because when we embrace our vulnerability, we are able to dissolve what keeps us imprisoned in our fears, freeing us to live with authenticity and bravery. It's like a return to our purest essence, to the light that shines independently of the ego's shadows. So, as we come to the end of this journey, I hope with all my heart that you will understand that self-transformation is not a quest for perfection, but a celebration of our authenticity. It is the courageous adventure into the unknown, the fearless exploration of the depths of our essence, and the unconditional acceptance that we are constantly evolving. The real magic is in recognizing that we are much more than the stories we tell ourselves. We are the sum of our experiences, but we are also the promise of what we can still become. Every step, no matter how small, is a movement towards true freedom, towards the authentic expression of who we are. The journey may never be a straight line. It may be full of ups and downs, but that's okay, because each cycle takes us to new heights of understanding and wisdom. So, with all my heart, I wish that every step you take towards self-transformation is a celebration of the transformative power that resides within you. And may you continue to explore, learn, and grow, for the journey is as valuable as the destination we seek to reach. Thank you for embarking on this journey with me. If this video resonates with you, I invite you to like and subscribe to this channel. Share this video with others so that they can benefit from this message. And don't forget to leave a comment below, sharing your thoughts, reflections, and experiences. Let this digital space be a place for diverse perspective, a statement to the transformative power of shared perspective, and a reminder that in the beauty of shared perspective lies the potential for collective growth and understanding. And as we wrap up, remember, your greatest responsibility is to yourself, not others. And until next time, stay safe.